With now years passing after its initial release, has the CSL DD stood the test of time? Well, let's take a look. This video has not been endorsed by Endor AG or any third party in any way, and the CSL DD and all of its peripherals have been purchased using my own hard-earned Great British pounds. And with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get stuck in. Our story starts in April of 2021, when on April 1st, Fanatec teased the sim racing community by posting something unheard of on their social media accounts, a DD 0.5. It was something the community had desperately been asking Fanatec for years before this point, to which only 20 days later Fanatec released the now infamous CSL DD. This soon sent shockwaves through the sim racing world, with now likely thousands of sales being made every single month across half of the globe. The CSL DD was incredibly popular for a few reasons, mainly being its incredible value for its time, housing 5 or even 8 Newton meters with its admittedly more than costly boost kit, as well as facilitating the luxury that is console compatibility and access to Fanatec's incredibly extensive ecosystem. The reviews flooded in, and the reviewers that actually managed to get their grubby hands on one absolutely loved it, myself included, although it has been a little while since its release. Shortly after the CSL DD's release, however, a few major flaws with its design and or construction became glaringly apparent, mainly having to do with the ports on the back of the CSL DD as well as the collar on the front of the unit, both being major issues, as well as wheels and their quick releases creaking, cracking, and even in some cases snapping in half. A very scary thought to imagine. Thankfully, I've only experienced the latter of the major issues previously mentioned. However, these issues have no doubt tainted not only Fanatec's perception to the hardcore sim racing enthusiast, but also the general consumer to a certain extent upon launch. Those issues, however, thankfully don't extend to the overall driving experience and Fanatec's software ecosystem. As a karting driver that has had years of experience in some of the highest levels of karting in Europe, I've experienced a lot of different simulator hardware in my now 5-year tenure sim racing. Want to know something? Fanatec's wheelbases have always been the easiest to get working to a reasonable degree of accuracy in every simulator I've driven, which I will gladly admit extends to the CSL DD as well. The CSL DD also has a vast and fruitful variety of effects, which I feel works so well in every simulator, despite its relatively low torque output. The force feedback feels clean, concise, crisp, and the fact that it's so customizable adds to its overall value in my opinion. In the last 2 years now of owning this wheelbase, I've driven extensively on a whole host of simulators, and every single one just works out of the box, with force feedback in certain simulators, iRacing and ACC, having an incredible level of detail, really helping the CSL DD shine. It's no wonder anytime I use any other wheelbase, I always end up comparing it to the CSL DD, rather than any of the other wheelbases I've found myself owning and testing over the years. In every simulator on screen here, if I can even fit them all, I've found the CSL DD to have a fantastic baseline level of force feedback, likely because of its first-party support, with software support on Fanatec's end being incredible too. Speaking of, both Fanatec softwares, Fanatec Control Panel and Fanalab, both have an extensive suite of tools to both update and fine-tune your wheelbase and other Fanatec peripherals. One of my favourite features of Fanalab is the ability to finely tune your wheel rim and even adjust the rev LED colours and fine-tune their activation percentages, as well as having different simulator profiles for each title as well as way more that's included on the wheelbase itself. As for Fanatec Control Panel, its layout is overall incredibly simple and intuitive, with everything you need in a neat, tidy window under each peripheral. All in all, Fanatec have knocked it out of the park with the CSL DD's both incredible force feedback and software experience, and it's definitely one I'm glad to use on the regular. Unlike buying from Fanatec at the moment, you won't regret subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a bunch and pushes me to create more reviews on SimPulse. Thank you. Fanatec are usually on the ball with not only their product's quality and finer details, but also their commitment to good customer service. This unfortunately has not been the case in the last few years, as with the launch of the CSL DD and many other lower-end peripherals, this has certainly changed for the worse. One example of this is how many Fanatec buyers as of recent have been reporting plenty of issues with wheels and wheelbases receiving substantial damage during both shipping and with regular usage, with I'm sure many of these cases not being due to user error, but rather with Fanatec's lack of quality control. Ports on the back of the CSL DD snapping and completely coming out, wheelbase shafts coming out from the wheelbase mid-race, something I've experienced, connection pins snapping on wheels, and one of my personal favourites, a plastic quick release. Not going to explain how that can cause issues. Many of these issues stem from either quality control issues or inherent design flaws on Fanatec's behalf. And what's worse is that many of Fanatec's most loyal customers that sent in RMA returns were being denied or were completely refused help or refuge on the matter, which is absolutely appalling. And with Fanatec's 2023 Black Friday sale, this had only snowballed and gotten worse, with likely tens of thousands of heavily discounted Fanatec products being sold by the dozen, all across the world, all while Fanatec were apparently moving warehouses, which only amplified their later issues.
We're in a time of huge drama in sim racing. I think this is the most dramatic sim racing show I've ever done. Their CEO Thomas Jacomai a few weeks ago, and he's already gone. He's been dismissed. Fanatec have taken millions and millions of dollars from you, the hardcore sim racing community, and the evidence shows you are not getting what you paid for now.
Now, while scripting this video, there has been a major breakthrough, with Fanatec declaring bankruptcy, as well as Corsair buying out Fanatec in an attempt to keep the company afloat. It's a whole mess, and if you'd like to see some explanatory videos and journalism on the events just mentioned, I've linked some fascinating and great videos from Ermin Erms as well as Kirith. Go watch those after this video's over. Now, overall, should you purchase the CSL DD in 2024? To be truthful with you, I'd probably wait on buying anything from Fanatec, unless it's second-hand. Hear me out. As just mentioned, Fanatec is currently on fire, the bad kind, as they scramble to not fully go under, as well as their quality assurance being awful and many shipments from Fanatec's 2023 Black Friday sale still not being delivered 9 months later. If you can still get the CSL DD second-hand though, it's still a fantastic buy and certainly a fantastic wheelbase, and I love mine to bits. It has fantastic force feedback, a mostly great ecosystem, and Fanatec compatibility with many a sim racing title. If you found this video useful, do let me know in the comments, and whilst you're down there, subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a ton. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later.